Welcome back. I want to talk a little bit more about cash concessions and why it's better to do cash concessions during a home inspection phase than work orders. It actually benefits both the buyer and seller to go the cash concession route. I have 9 reasons down here, so bear with me. I'm not going to bother memorizing it. So the first one is you're not opening a can of worms. You don't have a bunch of contractors poking around the house. So as a seller, the buyer may have requested 1 or 2 items. The contractors come out and they say, oh, well, it's not just this that needs to be done. You got some problems here and here and here, which invariably with contractors, that's more likely than not to happen. So that's probably the biggest thing is you don't want contractors poking around your house and creating a lot more problems. 2, there's less liability if you just do a cash concession. Once you do the work orders as a seller, then you're responsible that the contractors licensed and bonded did a good job. 3, makes for a cleaner transaction. 4, there's no squabbling on how the work was done. So the buyer requests these things, the seller does them or has a contractor do them, and then the buyer comes out to re-inspect and says, well, yeah, this is kind of what I had in mind and envisioned, but not exactly, and guess what? As a seller, I want you to redo it. 5, so if you're not doing a bunch of work orders, the appraisal can be ordered quicker, which means a quicker closing, which benefits both parties again. Number 6, it also makes for an easier closing. So think about this. If as a seller you're going to give the buyer money, well, then that buyer can use that money to, 1, reduce the sales price. So that means the appraisal coming in at value is a lot easier. Or you can use it towards their closing costs, which means the buyer then is less responsible for bringing in all this money at closing, which makes it easier for him to perform and close, which again, as a seller, is great for you. So 7, well, who's going to let the contractors in? A lot of sellers have their house empty. They've moved across state, moved across town. This alleviates that problem as well. 8, if for whatever reason the buyer does not close on the house, you as a seller are not out all that money, because the odds are, as a seller, when you resell it a second time, that buyer will have a different idea of what they want in work orders, and it won't match the original buyer's work orders. And lastly, number 9, there's no re-inspections, which takes time. It costs the buyer more money to get the home inspector back out there a second time, and there could be more potential problems. And then also let's keep in mind one last thing. As a seller, this is kind of a last-ditch thing of doing cash concessions. In my mind, you shouldn't be doing anything. The buyer has already been to your house, they like your house, they've seen your house, they know it's not a brand new house, they're not paying you in the offer for a brand new house, so why are they expecting all these things to be done? Anyways, thanks for watching.